Silver's hitting new all-time highs. Silver is basically going to the moon. I'm long with silver and gold miners. Have you been trading this? Are you making any money? I hope you are, right? This is one of those rare opportunities where the market just hands you money, but you have to be aware, right? First off, you had to be aware that it was happening. Second off, you need to be aware to where to get out. Otherwise, you could be the guy who buys it right at the top, right before it crashes back down. Now, I say the guy because 92.2% of our audience is male. So more than likely you're a guy. And watching this, right, as exciting as this is, you've got to have a plan to get out. Know where you're going to get out before you get in. Don't just rush into things. Now, I wanted to watch this video with you today called What is Silver's Next Move? And here's my prediction. This is coming from the George Gammon channel. I am a professional investor. I am competing in the U.S. Investing Championship for 2026. Silver is something I'm trading in the U.S. Investing Championship. I'm up 53% in my account for the year. And this is January 29th when this is being recorded. So it's absolutely gangbusters because I found my trades using OVTLYR. So I'm going to show you how to do all that. Link down below is my my exact trades for the year, as well as my exact trading plan that I use to get to that point. Let's watch this together. What is Silver's next move?
Silver is making historic moves, going to price levels that most people thought were impossible just 3 months ago.
Now, I'm sure you've heard, but we witnessed a historic decoupling in the precious metals complex. Silver, in fact, just as we went to market on Friday as the markets closed, trading above $103, a 7% intraday move last Friday.
So the question becomes, is it going to continue to moon or is it going to completely
moon, baby? It's up 7% today. Yeah, here's the thing, right? When a stock is running, don't get in its way. Don't be the guy. Listen, and I don't know what he's going to say. Maybe he's going to say, no, silver's going to crash. Don't be the guy who's like, I'm so smart. I'm smarter than the market. I'm going to start buying puts on silver. I'm going to start shorting silver as it's going like this, right? The market can stay irrational so much longer than you can stay solvent. Trend trading is the easiest way to make money by far when the 10 is over the 20 and price is over the 50. But counter trend trading is the fastest way to blow up your account. So don't get in the way. When it's running like this, just enjoy the ride. Okay, my friends, let's keep going.
Crash. I'm going to reveal the answers for you in 3 simple, fast steps. Step number 1, let's go over this unprecedented move that we have seen in silver. And by the way, it's been mooning, but it's also been crashing at the exact same time. More on that in just a moment. But let's go back just 6 months ago. We go to August all the way to today's date. On the left, we go from 16 bucks up to 36. This is the PSLV, the Sprott Silver Trust. We use this as a proxy for the price of silver. But
why not just use actual silver futures? You can just put SI1 and an exclamation point in your trading view, and you'll get actual futures for silver. I don't know why he'd do that. This is the spot price of silver, by the way.
At the time we record this video, in the last 6 months, it's up about 174%, with the vast majority of that move coming in the last, 2 or 3 weeks. And what's completely insane is the gap ups that we have seen in the chart. Editor, go ahead and throw up the candlestick chart of the PSLV. And I want to point out what happened just the other day when we had this massive gap up. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that in the precious metals. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my prediction as to where the price is going to go for silver and if it's going to continue to go parabolic or if it's going to crash right off a cliff. But there's one thing I can assure you, that over the next few months in silver, you are going to see some extreme volatility.
This I agree with. This I agree with bigly. And it's because people have no idea what they're doing. They're cramming into silver so much. And volatility is great if it's going in your direction, okay? Volatility is a great thing if you know how to trade with it. Volatility is horrible if you are stuck and you don't know what you're doing. All right, so volatility up, brilliant. Let's go. Let's make it happen. But yeah, I agree. I've talked to Mahesh, our CEO. I talked to several people in the real world, and I said, dude, I don't know how high this is going to go, but as soon as you start hearing, quote, regular people talk about how they're selling silver, how they're so smart because they sold their silver or bought silver because they're so smart, they went out and bought some silver, right? This is exactly the same thing that happened in GameStop, AMC, the weed stocks, the EV stocks, you name it, right? The same thing happens over and over and over, and it's happening in silver. But it's different this time, Chris. It's a commodity. I don't care what it is. Price dictates how people feel. Price dictates how people feel. If they get into an investment and they feel smart, they're going to go out and tell other people. Those other people are then going to want to feel smart, and they're going to get greedy, and so they will go buy it, which pushes the price up higher. Trend following is a self-fulfilling cycle, right? The price goes up because you bought some. You go tell your friends, hey, I'm so smart, I bought some. Your friends are like, I want to go buy some, which pushes the price up. It is a self-fulfilling cycle right there. And the market cycle is real. I don't know when it's going to come back down, but I'm going to be very confident that it will come back down at some point. Will it like crash back down? I don't know. But when you start hearing, quote, the shoe shine boy, your Uber driver, your friend at the bowling alley telling you how you need to go buy gold and silver right now, that's when you're getting close to the top. Okay. That's when you're getting close to the top. You don't want to be stuck as it comes back down. Let's keep going.
And today is a great example, or let's just say the last 24 hours, where just yesterday morning, it was right around 102. And then intraday, it goes up by 14%.
That is absolutely bonkers. Like, for the fact that this is a precious metals commodity, going up 14% is actually like a catastrophic thing for a lot of people. Now, we've talked about in the past how markets are not efficient, and let's revisit that. Right, this is a quote from one of my mentors, Larry Hite. He was the very first billion-dollar hedge fund manager, so he knows these things. Right, I've noticed that everyone who tries to tell me that the markets are efficient is poor. An efficient market theory says that at all times, people are making rational decisions. The price is based on all the news that everybody gets at the exact same time, and all investors make rational decisions. 14% move in a precious metal is anything but rational. This is irrational AF.
In just a few hours, it goes from 102 to 117. And then a few hours later, it crashes all the way back down to 102. And at the time, we're
crashes to levels not seen since like 3 hours ago. That drives me crazy when people say it crashes.
Doing this video, well, this morning is right around 112. So who knows what the price is going to do by the time you watch this video, and who knows what the price is going to do in the next 5 minutes. But one thing I can assure you is you're going to see some extreme volatility. And I think for people who own silver, this is the key, because psychologically, that's very difficult to deal with. Do you buy, hold, sell when you see these interest?
Now, it can be super difficult, or you can have a trading plan like mine that's linked down below, and I have my exit signals on my trades. All I have to do is wait for my exit signals to hit. Then there is no stress at all whatsoever. I would encourage you to do the same. It's linked down below. There is no paywall. There's nothing. You click it, you're in. In fact, there are 21 lurkers in there right now. Like it's that easy to click it. You've got my trading plan, which has helped me make 53% so far this year. Let's keep going.
Intraday price moves of 14%. That's something we're going to address in this video.
Step number 2. Now let's go back in time, study history, look at the charts, and see how these cycles have played out in the past. And we're going to stick with the Sprott Physical Silver Trust. So we go back to 2011, and this is when we had the last blow off top, if you will. And I remember that extreme.
Okay, so I didn't trade this in 2011, but like, look, so the market cycle is real. You can't tell me the market cycle is not real. Now, it ended up higher than it started, which is fine, right? But it still had stage 1 consolidation, stage 2 big run up. Okay, let's talk about this, because this is real. And you're going to see it happen in silver. I just can't tell you when. And anybody who tells you when it's going to happen ahead of time is obviously the most intelligent, smartest, most handsomest, most richest man in the entire world. Or he's an idiot. One of the two. So stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 is where the moving averages start crossing over. And it happened fast here. Stage 4 is this big, nasty decline. This and this, while it ended up higher than it started from 12 up to, let's say, 15, is still the market cycle. It is still the market cycle. So yes, I am very confident saying it's going to do this at some point. I just don't know when, and I'm not going to tell you when.
extremely well. I remember all the commercials on TV where we buy your gold, all the kiosks at the mall where we buy gold. They even had the guys on the street corner that were spinning those signs. We buy gold, and silver went right along with it. And I think that psychology is very important. You've got to include that into your analysis to determine whether now you want to buy, hold, or sell. So what I want to focus on is going back to December of 2010. And this is when that big move started, or I guess you could argue it was January of 2011. And that's when it just went completely parabolic, similar to what we have seen over the last month or so. And we went from 12 bucks on the Sprott Physical Silver Trust up to, call it 23. This happened in a very short time frame, call it 3 to 4 months. And I think that's crucial in analyzing what's happening right now. And as you can see by this chart, you definitely want to get the timing right. And even if you're in silver right now, this is not investment advice, but this is what I would do. Definitely have tight stops, because once this thing starts to go, it usually just absolutely falls off a cliff. I mean, look at this. Yikes, straight down from 23 to 15 in the matter of, what, a week? Because these are daily candlesticks. So you definitely don't want to be on the wrong side of that momentum. But now let's fast.
Totally agree. And while this can happen very fast, that is why you need to have a plan. So you're not surprised. You know what you're going to do, and you don't look at it like a deer in the headlights, like, where do I go? What do I do? You already know what you're going to do.
Fast forward to today and see what the chart looks like. In fact, actually, before we get there, what I want to highlight are the last 3 days of this move up. And you can see, editor, let's kind of zoom in on these 3 days when we got to that peak of $23. We started high. In fact, we were gapping up, but then we finished the day much, much lower than where we started. And we see that actually with this red candlestick that really plummeted after it got up to 23. We see the exact same price action. I think it's very, very important to be cognizant of that when we're looking at the next chart, which is what silver has been doing more recently. So here's a daily chart. The first thing we can see is this move started in, call it, December. So we're about 2 months into this move, and the last move lasted, what, 3 or 4 months? So I guess maybe that could be an argument as to there's still a lot of room to run in this silver trade, going a lot higher. But we look at these gaps up, and usually, not just in silver, but usually when you see things like this, it's very close to a significant pullback, because nothing goes up in a straight line. The other thing I want to highlight is how we're starting to see these candlesticks where we open the day. I mean, look at yesterday. We opened the day and you go straight up to 38, but then you go all the way back down and close around, and I call it 35. And today we're seeing something very similar, which is very similar to what we saw at the blow off top in 2011.
But remember, as a trader, as an investor, you look for these opportunities. This is what you dream about. This is literally what you dream about. And in fact, like, you can make your entire year's worth, maybe even 10 years worth, or maybe even $10,000 for 82 cents a day. Outstanding work, Jake. So Jake made $10,000 using OVTLYR. Okay. This is what you look for. This is what you dream for. And you don't want to get in the way. Sure, it gaps. Who cares if it gaps, right? Have a plan to get out. Now, the thing is that most people are not going to have a plan. And once it starts to crack, they're going to like absolutely lose their minds because they don't know what to do. And they're going to panic. But not you. You're smart, right? You're a smart boy.
Where you start the day at a higher price and then you continue lower throughout the day into the close. So for me, when I look at these two charts, you've got a bullish argument that we're only 2 months into this thing, so it's got a lot more room to run. But then you've got the bearish argument that when you start to see these gap ups, usually you're going to have a huge, huge pullback. And we've got the...
Well, hang on. Before we start saying just because it's gapping up, that means you're going to have a pullback, I would actually like to reframe that, because all-time highs are bullish AF. And let me remove these, right? They are bullish AF for the same reason we talked about earlier, right? People are super stoked. Anybody who's ever bought silver since Jesus last walked the earth is now happy if they still own it. They're not happy if they sold it, but if they bought silver at any point in time in history, they're super duper happy, right? New all-time highs, bullish AF. Just let it run, bruh. Let it run. Don't get in the way. That does not mean it's bearish in the least.
A further bearish argument, when you start to see these red type of candlesticks at the top of a parabolic move, often that signals that the top is in. But what I'd also focus on in
Okay, he clearly knows more than I do. So if you see a red candlestick, remember to sell everything you own. Okay, don't worry about these red ones down here. Just those didn't exist. Don't worry about that red or those red. Listen. Anytime you see red candlesticks at the top of the move, it's over. It's kaput. It's cooked. Okay. Don't hold silver if you see a red candlestick. Give me a break.
addition to the charts, psychology, very, very important.
Yeah, and psychology is real. Let's see if he can explain that trend following like this happens because more people buy and they get excited, they tell their friends, so they go buy, and then they get excited and they tell their friends and they go buy, and it's a virtuous cycle. But at some point in time, everybody who's have already bought silver, or everybody who is going to have bought silver, has already bought. So therefore, they will turn bullish. I'm sorry, turn bearish. They'll turn fearful. Let's actually go into OVTLYR real quick. I want to look at the SLV data for silver. I think this is going to be really interesting. Hang on, SLV, because OVTLYR measures fear and greed on literally everything, and you can see it's like it's not actually pegged at the top. It was higher even a couple weeks back at the beginning of the year. So the greed is still super high. Okay. Now keep in mind, we got the buy signal back on November 11th and it's run jeepers creepers. Let's go to SLV real quick and double check that SLV from November 11th, which I've already marked on here, to today. It's up 138% on silver. I would say that that was a really solid entry signal. Just my opinion, right? And it's still continuing to be super, super greedy. It's still continuing to be super, super greedy. But once it starts to get fearful, that's when you have to get out of the way. Let's keep going.
So ask yourself, your friend and family member, Fred, the guy or gal that you know, or guys or gals that you know that aren't interested in markets, they're not interested in investing, they never talk about this stuff. And all of a sudden you get a phone call from them saying that they went down to the local pawn shop or whatever, and they're buying physical silver.
That is the top. That I can agree with. Every single time it's the truth.
Because, oh my gosh, I heard it's going to go up. Or you see the cover of The Economist magazine, or the equivalent of, saying that silver is going to go to $500 an ounce. That's another signal that I would use in addition to these charts to make my decision as to whether I wanted to buy, sell, or hold.
Step number 3, now the fun part, my prediction as to how high or maybe how low the price of...
By the way, predictions are like elbows. Everybody's got a couple and they smell bad. Predictions are so dumb. There is no actual reason to talk about anyone's prediction. Why? Because it's literally meaningless, right? Oh, my prediction is it's going to go to 0. Does the market care? No. My prediction is it's going to go to $500 an ounce. Does it matter? No. Who cares? But apparently lots of people do. It's only got 76,000 views in 13 hours. Let's see what his prediction is, because clearly he's way smarter than me. He definitely has more hair than me, so therefore that equivalates to, because he probably uses the right word instead of equivalates to brain cells. So hair equals brain cells, and I got an itty bitty baby brain because I only have 40% of my hair.
Silver will go. But before we get there, let's talk about different options.
No. It's elbows. I did that on purpose. Thank you. That was a little bit of rage bait right there. You're welcome.
Because I know many of you in the audience are extremely bullish on the precious metals in general, regardless of what I say. And we've been talking about some very interesting things in Rebel Capital's Pro. That's the monthly investment membership site I have with my good friends Brent Johnson, Chris McIntosh, etc. And the one thing that Lynn Alden actually talked about with our pro members is platinum. And I didn't realize that in these cycles, platinum usually moves after silver. So I knew that gold goes first, then the miners go, then silver goes, then the silver miners go. But I didn't really know platinum goes after that. And she pointed that out. So that's something, again, this isn't investment advice, just telling you.
Mr. Merriweather says, no predictions and no expectations has changed his life. Dude, yeah. If you set a profit target, like let's say, for example, and I really appreciate that feedback. If you set a profit target on silver and you're like, well, it's gonna go to $200 an ounce, right? Because I told it that it's gonna go to $200 an ounce, right? I'm a derpy joker, which I always leave back here to make sure we don't forget, right? You don't want to be a derpy joker. Pull this out here. In fact, derpy joker is the one who makes the predictions. Let's do it like this. silver's going to go to $200 an ounce. And because I said it's gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna go long silver. I'm gonna buy as much silver. I'm gonna buy all the calls. I'm gonna buy all the silver miners. I'm gonna buy silver everything because it has to go up because I told it to, right? Yeah, and then it literally never goes to 200 if that happens to be your profit target, and you're gonna turn into hang on. Here's what's gonna happen. Well, it didn't go to 200 yet, but I'm gonna hold it until it does. My great grandchildren will be so thankful that I held it so they could finally see $200 an ounce. Give me a break. Let's keep going. That's why you don't put any sort of prediction in the market, because the market does not care. The market gives no monkey donkeys about what your predictions are. It's going to do what it's going to do. You get to decide if you're going to run it, you're going to ride it, or if you're going to be the genius who holds it and watches it come all the way back down because it didn't hit your profit target.
You what we're talking about in Rebel Capitalist Pro, and I'm going to be telling you what I'm doing in my own personal portfolio here in a minute. But just telling you kind of what we're discussing and what very, very smart people like Lynn Alden are thinking about. So maybe look at platinum. Now, the silver miners. I heard my good friend Doug Casey talk about this. I talked about it the other day with my good friend Adam Taggart on his show, Thoughtful Money. And what Adam pointed out, which I didn't realize, is that gold has moved, let's just say 50%. And these aren't exact numbers. I'm just using them for the sake of the example. But let's say gold has gone up by 50%. The gold miners have gone up by 100%. Silver has gone up by, let's say 174%. But the silver miners haven't gone up to a greater degree.
That is actually true. I can do side by sides, but I don't know if I can put it in like percentage terms. I mean, we're in these trades, KGC, PPTA, NEM, and OR, and they have been moving great, but nothing like silver. Nothing like silver at all. So yeah, I have seen that in real life.
Agree. They've pretty much gone up at the exact same pace. So you would expect them to perform better in the cycle. So it may be an interesting move, again, not investment advice, but it may be interesting to take some of that silver off the table and allocate it to this silver miners. Now let's go over what I'm doing with my own portfolio. Now, unfortunately, I missed the majority of this move, but fortunately, I actually got in about 3 weeks ago, and I was up about 30% or so on the move, and I was going to hold the position as long as it was continuing to go up, but we had such a huge gap up the other day that I actually put in a stop, and I got that stop hit with PSLV right around $35.25. So currently, I am not in silver. I do not have a position, but let me tell you when I...
That stinks. Dude, I'm going to be in these trades for as long as I can. I'm going to let them run as far as I can, and it's going to be great. I can't wait for you to come along with us.
I would get back in. And we'll use PSLV again as a proxy. We're doing that throughout this video. If PSLV gets above its high water mark where it was yesterday, so let's just say, I think it got all the way up to maybe 36, even at one point in time, intraday, $38. So if it exceeds that high, let's say in the next 2 months, so let's say it comes back down here, it starts to consolidate, a lot less volume, definitely less volatility, and then starts to gradually, in a more healthy way, move back up and then exceeds the previous high, that's when I would think about getting back in to the trade.
Wait. Are you saying that new all-time highs would be bullish AF? Isn't that what I said? Isn't that what I said? So he agrees.
That because, as my good friend Hugh Hendry says, I like to buy stuff when it's going up, not when.
No, look at that. This guy's got to be an outlier, right? What do we say, right? Don't buy the dip because you don't know how far it's going to dip. You do want to buy the rip because you don't know how high it's going to rip. You want to buy stocks as they're crashing up and not as they're crashing down. What do you know? He's obviously an outlier.
When it's going down. I've noticed all the best investing advice is always the most simple. So now let's get into my price prediction. Where do I think silver is going? Let's just say in the next 6 months.
Hang on, folks. Nostradamus is about to learn us something over here.
This is a toughie. I think 150 is actually...
good gravy. Here we go. We just got it. All right, silver. Put it on your calendars. In the next 3 to 6 months, silver's going to 150. Put it on your calendars. All right. Bet the farm. Sell everything you have and put it into silver, because this guy, random guy on the internet like myself, is saying that it's only going to go up to 150. Again, there is no, other than entertainment value, there's no point in having profit targets, expectations, etc. because they can absolutely not materialize. But because, and this is the behavioral psychology of trading, because you have price anchored to 150. Remember, this his number, not my number. I don't give predictions. I think that's stupid. Because you've price anchored to 150, because this random guy on the internet said, hey, it's going to go to 150. If it never reaches 150, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to hold it? Because, you know what? 150 sounds like a great target. I absolutely have to be there. Or are you going to say, okay, maybe I should get out of the way? By anchoring to anything, you are completely changing the dynamic of the trade, because now you are trying to subvert the will of the market. You're trying to say, look at the moon up here, this big, beautiful green moon. That's where silver is going to go. And if it doesn't, do you even know what you're going to do if it doesn't? Or what if it just like rocket launches straight through there, like it didn't even slow down, and you sold out right here because your target was 150? Both of those situations could happen, right? It could absolutely, under any circumstance, just go bloop, bloop, or rocket ships. And because you established an anchor at 150, you have now changed your behavior to center around this price target. Are you going to hold as it goes up through it? Are you going to sell if it never hits it? Exactly. You need to figure out what that plan is, and don't set any expectations. Don't set any profit targets, because it absolutely changes how you will react in the moment. Let's keep going.
In the cards. Let me tell you why. Now, I definitely don't like what's happening in the charts with those red candlesticks, but that could be a short-term pullback here, then again, some consolidation, then you continue the move higher. And for me, it's all
well said. Well said.
All about sentiment. Now, I haven't had any of my friend and family member Freds call me up and tell me they're buying silver yet. I haven't seen it on the cover of any magazines. And I look at CNBC every single day, and quite frankly, other than Jim Cramer making an announcement that he's selling silver, which is a great contrarian indicator, I don't really see them talking about it like they talk about even Bitcoin or crypto or AI. So for me, that tells me from a sentiment standpoint, psychological, and again, this all goes back to human psychology, that it's still got some room to run. Now, that said, just as a reminder, I do not have a position right now. And although I think silver could go to 150, I will not buy again until
But isn't it such a great price if you can buy the dip here, my friend? If you're so confident in 150, wouldn't you want to get it at whatever your target is down here?
we get past that recent high that we hit on the PSLV, right around 36, 38 bucks per share. Now, if you guys want even more insights and contrarian strategies for how to play the precious metals, energy.
Don't try and be a contrarian. Don't. Listen, I can tell you from firsthand experience, being a contrarian, trying to take the opposite of every move like this is how you blow up. I can tell you that for sure. And I don't want you to blow up. I want you to be super successful in the market. So let's recap here, right? I have no idea why silver's moving. Doesn't sound like he has an idea either. You don't need to have an idea. Run with the trends. Let the trends run right beside you. Let them carry you up to new highs. At some point in time, trends will reverse, and that is a-okay. It is a-okay. But Chris, it's not fair. It didn't hit my $150 price target. Sorry. I'm just going to hold this until it comes back. Okay. I'm a long-term investor. I love silver. Fine. Or you can think about this logically. You can have a plan to say, I'm going to get in when this happens. I'm going to get out when that happens. In the meantime, I'm going to let the trend run. That is where you need to be as a successful investor. That is what we teach on this channel. So be sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're looking to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, click one of these two videos that are popping up on your screen right now, and we'll talk soon.